Meeting for Wednesday, April 19th, 2025 at 6 o'clock.
Are you all set, Greg?
Let's see.
It's March 19th,
What did I say it was?
April, because we were just
Oh.
talking April.
Yeah, it's April Fool's joke.
That's right.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
Thank you.
Welcome to the City of Laconia Conservation Commission meeting for Wednesday, March 19th, 2025. It's 6 o'clock. I'm Dean Anson.
Deb Williams?
Robert Harrington?
Lisa Moran.
Ray Draper.
Great. Thank you. We have a quorum, so we're going to start off by saluting the flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, so we're going to start off with the acceptance of the minutes for February 19th, 2025.
I'll make a motion that we accept the minutes from 2/19/25.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Under Langley Cove and Langley Brook studies, there's no information? I thought we talked about.
Yeah, there was a discussion about Langley Brook, and about how the brook and sediment leading into the cove, but nothing specifically about the cove. I put it all under Brook.
Under what?
Under Langley Brook.
So where's Langley Brook discussion? In the minutes.
We're still, are we looking at 3.5 or 2.19?
219.
219.
Okay, so I'm looking at 3.5. If it's not in the minutes, then I don't believe there was discussion about it. Maybe you had given a brief update about FB application, but if I didn't put anything there, it just wasn't really discussed.
There's just not enough information in these minutes, generally speaking. These are minutes that people in the public should be able to go to and see what we did. Applicants should be able to look at the minutes and say, oh, those are the things that the Conservation Commission identified as things that the applicant should look at. So the
Do you want to vote on the motion?
no, I want to finish the discussion on the minutes. There's a grammatical mistake here on, let's see. Oh, here it is, on 8V, 5. Update on natural resource inventory, and I think it should be she and her team. So it's not her and her team, I think it's she and her team are preparing. I think that's grammatically correct, but I wasn't like a English wizard.
Yeah. Right. She and her team. Right.
Right.
Okay, anything else? Okay. And, no other comments? Okay, so want to vote? All in favor of accepting the minutes with that one change, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, thank you. And then we have the minutes from the meeting on March 5th. Gray, when you take the minutes, I asked you this before and I forget what you said. Do you record them? Record the audio?
No, it's all live streamed and then it's stored on the YouTube channel, so you can go back and watch it. But I don't record it on my phone.
Oh, okay.
So do
Okay.
you take the minutes going back and looking at the YouTube?
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Okay, good, thanks. Okay, so we have the March 5th, 2025 minutes. Anybody have any comments?
Move we accept the minutes of March 25th as presented.
No. March 5th.
March 5th, I'm sorry.
I'll second.
Okay. Okay, so if the Layton Avenue applicant came in and looked at the minutes under their application, they would not be able to address comments that we made because they aren't there.
Right, so I wasn't supposed to put the comments in the minutes, I was just supposed to put them in a document and share them with the owner and developer who were here.
That's what Rob said to do?
That's just standard protocol, what we do whenever Concom gives recommendations. So I put it all in a formatted document and then send it to them. I can, if you want, I can start CCing you on the recommendations that are Concom's recommendations that go out to developers, but
So we can't put them in the minutes for, like, the March 5th meeting?
Other boards I have sat on that I take minutes for, if they want something read into the record, I then cut and paste it and put it in the minutes under that item. So if it's a letter from somebody or, you know, we hereby adopt these new policies, and I will put them in verbatim into the minutes under that heading.
Okay, but there has to be a specific request to put that information into the minutes?
Yeah, like I would like this document or like this statement read to appear in the minutes.
Okay, I didn't think that was the way we did it in the
I'm-
past year.
That may be true that we didn't do it that way in the past. I'm just identifying how I've
Right.
done it with other boards.
Right.
So,
If we want to make sure that it's in there, yeah. I know that also at that meeting that I announced, we talked about Lisa's plant sale, and I announced that. And I think when we're sharing information like that, Gray, and announcing it, that should be in the minutes so that the general public can see that.
okay.
Although, with it being on YouTube,
yeah,
it's hard because are people gonna read the minutes or are they gonna watch the replay on YouTube?
and I think, Deb, something that's, I don't know if this is the right word, ephemeral like that. Like, in other words, it's one day in this whole year. You know what I mean? It's like if it was, there's kind of like hands across the table. There's a standing event every Wednesday, every third Wednesday of the month. That might get put in the minutes as a cue for things that the Conservation Commission would like to promote. As a policy, we like to promote this activity. I'm just saying, but when it's like a once a year thing, this is what I've done is I've just said, the board reviewed several items of interest occurring within the month of March, and I just put the name, like, plant, Conservation District plant sale, UNH erosion control, but I don't like list the date and all that other stuff. I just mention that the event is happening.
See, for me, it's like whenever you can get information out there, the better, but
I agree with you. I guess, because this is more of a legal document of what, I think that this is a legal document.
Right,
To go back, and if somebody has a complaint against us,
right,
that we didn't discuss something properly, or we made an assumption we shouldn't have made, that's kind of what this is used for. Whereas, like the website or whatever can be a place for those, hey, here's like a community page of things that the Conservation
Right,
District.
right.
Conservation Commission, sorry, is interested in this month or whatever. That's just, I'm not.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's true, I don't
Yeah.
know, I mean, given the fact that they're all on YouTube now,
Yeah,
I don't know if people come in and request Well, you don't have to request it, you can go online.
You can go online and look at it, yeah.
Get the minutes, yeah, so, I don't know.
I mean, I think it's a good idea to identify things that we know are happening that the public might be interested in.
Right.
But I don't know that, well, I'm just kind of reiterating myself,
They have to be in the minutes, I see what you're saying,
you know.
specifically.
Yeah, like date and time. and-
Right.
I thought we had this discussion when Rob was here, and he said we should follow the format that the planning board uses.
For the naming of items when we have projects coming in, yeah, he wanted us to follow that format for the planning board agenda.
Not just the agenda, but in the minutes. I haven't looked at the planning board minutes in a while, but do they put in specific comments about that project?
I'm not sure, I don't do the planning board minutes, that would be Savannah, so I would
let's-
have to
let's-
check into it.
Do you want to take a moment for us to look at it?
Sure.
Since we have this,
That's a good idea.
can't get this open, come on.
We
Oh,
may never get back to where we need to be.
no, it's just, I just need to touch it the right way. God.
Oh, these must be in alphabetical order. That's
Yeah,
why.
they are.
Thanks.
Heritage Putnam TIF business.
Wanna find, so we're looking at the planning board minutes, like how they keep their minutes? So,
Assessor building, where the heck are they?
Oh,
and
Oh,
then
there they are.
scroll down.
Okay. Continued public hearing.
planning board.
And then we can look at. I don't know if that's the agenda. Draft minutes, oops.
So I'm looking at continued public hearings, consideration of possible vote.
This is a planning board.
So, if- yeah,
Looking at one from February.
oh, I'm looking
Fourth.
at March 4th.
Mine is February, but.
Well, I was just, I mean, so on mine, it has like 1.1, correct the book and page number for parcels, permits and approval. So they've got like 6 items there that they've listed out of changes that need to be made.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah. Construction requirements. All conditions in this section must be met during the construction of a project. 2.1, water specifications. 2.2, and they say water specifications, all specifications for a municipal water service required by water department apply to all construction. 2.2,
Yeah, they're-
backflow devices.
They're very specific, right?
Yeah, they are. So that would go to your point about having
A detailed list.
mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm looking at the same one that Lisa was looking at for February 4th, and they have
I was looking at March 4th, but I imagine they all are very
Yeah,
similar.
they're
Yeah.
pretty similar. But, and and I suppose they really have to with, the projects that come before them. I mean, they are the planning board, so they have to be pretty specific about what their,
Hmm.
expectations are with the project. They may follow,
There may be a prescribed thing from like the New Hampshire Municipal Association
Right.
or something, whoever.
right,
I just remember Rob saying that what we ought to do is, for a format, we should follow the planning board format. So, as an example, in February 4th, February 4th, Amy Levisick made a motion to accept, blah, 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 and then it gets down to T. Carmichael read into the record staff report as follows. And, you know, the
Who takes the minutes for the planning board?
Savannah.
Savannah.
So I think the T. Carmichael reading into, that's kind of what Lisa was talking about, so we can read the recommendations into the minutes if you want to do it that way. They would just have to be read at the meeting, so I could then record it.
So I think what I'm wrestling with is if I need to go to the minutes from the previous meeting of the Conservation Commission, and there are no comments in under Langley Brook and Langley Cove, I don't necessarily remember all of the things that were said. And so, so to have all of that detail the way that Savannah has done it
Go back.
here, then
You wanna go back
You
to
know,
our
then
agenda?
I-
Do you wanna
I
go back to our agenda?
don't have to
Oh,
remember
Put it back.
yeah.
whether exactly what I said, and it's, so I think what we did at one point is,
Yeah.
before you joined, we gave you the minutes that Deb would take, and they were in more detail than these minutes, and so I would like to go back to that format of more detail, so that we can look at it and, you know, for me, it's a good learning experience, because when I see what we talked about in Langley Cove or Langley Brook, then I might have something new to report on that, but I don't have what we previously talked about. So if we can do the minutes in more detail, following the planning board and the way that we used to take them, because in the past, we did it in the format that Deb used, and there was a lot of information in each of the reports that we would get the minutes of the previous meeting. So like this meeting, we're gonna talk about the conservation checklist, and Deb has retyped it because when she combined different elements in the previous checklist to make it read more smoothly and more completely, that should be in the minutes, I think.
The changes that she has made, you're saying? should be-
The way, what she handed
Oh,
out, this whole
Yeah, I
thing.
could, if you want, yeah, so after this, I can scan it and attach it to under this item, so it'll be in
Okay.
the minutes, this actual document.
Right,
Okay.
we're gonna work on it though, still,
Right,
right?
Right,
So,
but still,
okay,
okay. All right,
do we wanna vote on these minutes?
sure.
Okay.
So, we have how do we want to vote on this?
Well, do we have a motion and a second and then
Yeah.
discussion?
No,
Yeah,
Yeah.
So how you vote on it then is whoever, I think, who made the motion to accept the minutes?
you did.
Well, I ca-
Lisa.
Yeah, I just, well,
And I
I'm not with
seconded.
it. So I will amend my motion to include the corrections and amendments we just discussed. And then you could second that, Deb, if you want.
Yeah,
and
I'll
then-
second that.
And then we all vote yea or no.
okay,
And then we all vote yea or no. Yea,
okay.
based on
So,
you prompting us.
how many people are in favor of accepting the minutes as submitted? Say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay. Thank you. So now where am I going? Okay. So the next is the state permit water, wetland permit applications for 2 projects on Layton Avenue North. We did not get copies of those permit applications. I called the city clerk's office and asked them if they had gotten them, and they said, no, they hadn't gotten those, but they had gotten a different one that was submitted earlier, and we didn't see that one either. So, Gray, what we've done in the past is we get all of the wetland applications that are submitted to the city. So the city clerk gets one, we get one, we review them, and where we have to sign off, we sign off. Where we don't have to sign off, we just get to review them and, you know, to be aware of what's being done. So Layton Avenue North, the project that came last month, they're right on the water's edge. They're on the edge of the lake. And the applicant said they hadn't submitted it yet. They were, you know, essentially finishing up the permit application. And so when and we will not have any comment on that, but we can review it, and that's what we've always done. So
I thought we had to. I thought we had to sign them.
well, it depends. If it's a state permit, we may not have to sign it. We get to review it, but we don't get to approve it. We just get to review it. So there are 2 kinds. You know, one, if they're going to just, like the guy up on Parade Road, where he submitted a wetland application, that one we would get to review and approve or not approve. The ones that are on the edge of the lake, we don't necessarily get those because they're state
It's a
permits.
state thing,
They're
right?
the ones that regulate how many trees can be cut down, and so,
Right.
but in any case, we get to review all of the wetland applications. And what's happened in the past is when you get a copy of it in the planning department, you call me or you call Deb, and one of us will come down and review it so that we stay within the time frame of the permit requirements. But I haven't seen a wetland permit in easily 6 months. And now it's if history is a predictor of what's gonna happen next, we'll start getting more applications, and we wanna make sure that if we have comments, we put the comments in. If we don't, then we just sign it and approve it and have it go to the state. But if we put in comments and request additional information or suggest changes, then the state will communicate that to the applicant. So. Okay, so now we have the checklist. Okay, so let's
So-
you,
I'm confused. Did you print out these for us?
Yeah, so that
it's-
one, the first one,
But it's missing a page?
yeah, so the one that I handed you when you walked in, that's the one, and I reformatted it because it was only scanning one side.
Oh,
So, that is both pages in a Word document. That's the one that I handed you when you came in.
this is a duplicate of this. I don't know, I'm
right,
confused.
okay.
I'm just gonna use mine.
Yeah, I mean, and this is what Graves saying. This one is just 2 pages, this one's 4 pages, 3 pages.
That, but
Anyway.
that doesn't, I don't think that included it all, that's what I'm saying.
Right.
Like, this was the old checklist, and this one is not all of it. You have the second page, but not
So the stapled,
I don't know.
pages stapled together. This
So
one
here's-
is the
this
complete
is the ori-
checklist.
Right, but we're missing the first page. But that's okay.
Okay.
Because I printed
So,
mine out.
yeah, we'll just disregard that and we'll go to the one that you did. And you could send an email to Gray with your typed up version, right?
I gave him a copy.
I know, but, so he doesn't, okay, whatever, that's fine.
I went by the original ones that we got, which
Right.
were 2 full pages. And I think, looking at the one Gray had, it's the second, you have the second page, but not the first. But I could be wrong.
Okay, that's all right, we're not dealing with that.
I'm confused. Yeah. All right.
Okay,
So basically what I did was took the comments from our last meeting of different ones that we could combine because we had a total of 22 things on the first checklist. And I got it down to 18 by combining a few of the things. It's not in the same format. Gray said he would put it in the table because I couldn't do tables.
so the question is, do you want this put in a tabular format?
Yeah, because, I mean, this was the original checklist, and you want to have where it was submitted, not submitted, and then helpful tools at the end.
Okay.
So, yeah, I already asked him, and he said he could do that. But if we want to read over them really quick and make sure that we're not forgetting something, the parentheses at the end of some of them pertain to the helpful tools column. That's what would go in the helpful tools column, so. Do you want me to read them to you?
No, you don't need
Oh,
to.
okay.
I took my Evelyn Woods class today.
Wait, what are you looking at?
I'm looking at, if not using biodegradable socks, then there's something like,
Oh,
the silt socks should be left in place.
yeah, what happened there?
I don't know. It's the computer.
It's
Don't worry about
Google. I hate Google.
it. Okay, so you put those words in, so we,
So, yeah, so it'll be, it's not using biodegradable socks.
then the silt socks should be left in place until natural ground cover is established,
Right.
at least
Then
6 months.
Right. Then they should be, that's what it should be. If
Okay.
not using biodegradable socks, then they should be. Then they should be
Should be,
left in place
right.
until natural ground cover is established for at least 6 months from completion.
When we get to number 5, snow storage,
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering if we shouldn't add something more there. So right now it's indicate snow storage on proposed plans, snow storage must be outside of any wetland or water bodies referred to city ordinances. I don't have a city ordinance, but does the ordinance talk about keeping water on, like, zero discharge off property? Now,
From snow melt? Is that what you mean?
yeah,
Because we do have, further on, we talk about minimizing hydraulical impact on abutting properties.
mm-hmm.
We could say including snow melt, or, is that what you mean?
Or on number 5, you can make under the additional information, please see item 13, hydrological impacts for further information or something.
Okay.
Because I thought that was an ordinance in the city, like zero runoff or something.
Please see item 13 for reference, or,
Yeah, the only problem with that, I don't know how to, the only problem with that is that may not stay item 13 for, whatever. If you put item 13 on 5,
right.
and then somebody rearranges the
Mhm.
lineup, then 13 makes no sense. I'm not sure how to identify it, but, the reference information on minimizing the hydrological impact to abutting or downstream properties, maybe just that sentence. Please see in this checklist the item referring to minimizing the hydrological impact.
yeah,
I don't know how to do it.
okay.
Or see city ordinance on runoff,
Yeah, I wonder what that ordinance contains.
but that could change too, so I think that's why if you say, like, the reference number, that's why if you say, also review city ordinances on stormwater runoff, abutting, on abutting properties and downstreams. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm,
'Cause
right. On number 9, I was wondering if we should include, that talks about stream crossings. And it says, taking into consideration the passage of aquatic organisms, but would that be a place to talk to them about, I don't know, when they're doing a stream crossing and they're putting in a culvert or something, should we ask them to make sure that it's up to, 100-year storm, if it is able to handle drainage?
is the 100-year storm the standard anymore?
No, I don't know what it is.
I don't know.
It used to be, what did they say? It used to be 25 year or 50?
I think the standard is a 100-year storm, but that's not,
You don't take that into consideration with
it,
that?
Gray, do you know what developers use in terms of, do they use the 100-year storm, or do they use the 10-year storm, the most recent 10 years?
So we had asked DES this recently, we were talking about 75 or 100, and I think the the standard we concluded with DES is still 100.
Still 100? So between today, back 100 years, that's the biggest storm is what they, okay. So it's not like starting in 1875, the 100-year storm. It's starting,
So 1925 to now. Yeah.
okay, all right. So,
So we shouldn't have to include that, or?
I think we should. It's, I think the clearer we can make it for them,
I mean, and I only ask that because I don't, when it says stream crossing, sometimes it's a temporary thing in a development, and other times, I mean, I'm thinking of that paintball park that had a stream crossing. And I'm trying to remember what they put in, if it was just a culvert.
I think they were wrestling with what size culvert to put in.
Right. I don't know, I mean,
So who is it that makes the decision on the 100-year storm?
Well,
DES?
we reached out to DES just to ask them what they use as their standard, and they said 100.
So can we reference DES?
I don't know, when it comes to stream crossings on a property, do they have to get a permit from DES? Do they have to get clearance? Or is that just a city thing?
I don't know.
Who has to make the decision on
Well,
that?
I'm sorry, Dean, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Well, we're just asking them to include information and design for any stream crossings. We're not telling them, they're not, how can I put this? If it's entirely on their property or not, we're just asking them to consider providing the information. It's not like that's the planning board isn't probably gonna.
So, is there a specific rule when it comes to stream crossing that you know?
Not that I know of specifically, because I haven't had projects of stream crossing where there was work being done. I almost want to defer to the state, because I think they already have their guidelines, and then we as the city can have a stricter set of guidelines.
Right.
But I am not sure what the state requires.
Right. You would think it would be pretty strict if it's water, if it involves,
Well, but the key that you said, if it's on their property, where is it going to? Is it a spring that then goes to a pond that's on their property? That's what I'm saying. We're not enforcing any rules here. We're just asking them to utilize the information available, and we're asking them to consider it. Include information design on stream crossings, should take into consideration the passage of aquatic organisms. That's it. If planning board wants to make it, no, we're not gonna, it's a yes or no from us, and that's the deal breaker, let the planning board make that decision.
no,
We're just-
I'm just wondering the specifics, how they go about it, who they have to listen to, or, I just remember that paintball people, when they came, and I remember Mike talking to them about the
Probably
size
alteration of terrain.
of the culvert and stuff, and,
I imagine it'd be alteration of terrain,
yeah, true,
and then depending on where the water's going.
right,
They have other language that we looked at before where it specifies if a wetland is contiguous to the larger water body, so I'm sure it would also depend on that with the state, because I would imagine that they might have different regulations if it's a vernal pool versus like Langley Brook that flows directly into Langley Cove.
yeah, this was a small stream
Yeah.
that was on the property, but it, continues onto other properties.
Yeah.
It doesn't come up that often, but,
Well, we had it, remember, there was the Brady Sullivan project up on Roller Coaster Road. Remember they had a bridge that they were putting over so they could get access to another part of their property, and they put in some culverts, and we commented on the size of the culverts and the location of the culverts.
Was that a development, though? Was that a
Yeah,
housing
that was the
development?
development. I don't,
Well, you know, what's the definition? They were doing some clearing, and they were setting it up to be for, I think, hunting.
Yeah.
okay.
I'm just, yeah.
We can leave it as it is, because it wasn't, I just didn't know if we should,
When
but
you're-
that's maybe not the place to add it
When
either.
we're doing, I'm just thinking back to our stream, the stream work we're doing with Meredith and stuff, so, this is for Wood and Stream, but we had to get abutters signing consent letters for this work to be done and everything, so that's to get a wetlands permit.
Mhm.
So I think that anybody that comes before the us or the planning board that has that kind of project that's gonna require a wetlands permit is gonna have to.
Right.
So, I just, and maybe you could put something like, and also consult wetlands permit for potential obligations or impacts or, adherence to wetlands rules, something like that. Like, and also, like reference, not reference, but, I'm sorry, I really can't think tonight.
That's okay.
So I'm gonna go back to 6. So I think it should be
There's a beast.
delineating and mapping of wetlands and any vernal pools must be conducted by a New Hampshire certified wetland scientist, an NH certified wetland scientist. Indicated on the submitted plans, it is preferred that the wetland and vernal pool studies are conducted in the springtime. Okay, so I just had
What,
delineating
Why-
instead of lineation.
well, I just copied that from the other.
Yeah, well,
Um,
I don't think it's,
Greg, will
Mediation, I think.
will identifying it as being a New Hampshire certified wetland scientist create a problem?
No,
Okay.
I don't think it should.
Are there different, like,
well-
if they were from Maine, would they have a different criteria? Or they're just not
I'm
used to
not
New
sure,
New
but
Hampshire
I
laws?
think that most people who are buying property in Laconia are going to use as local as they can get as far as the
I-
wetland scientists.
Well, I was just, I was just thinking of some of those companies like, that are in, like the big companies that are in Massachusetts, but I'm guessing any of their scientists would have certification in the states they're doing work in, so that may not be a problem. That may not be a problem. I just.
Yeah, I don't know if it is a thing where you are certified by state.
You are.
Oh.
Yeah, I
Okay.
believe you are, yeah.
so it would just, that's why I said NH certified wetland scientist.
So even so, you would want them to have the New Hampshire certification, so they would have to have it to be able to survey the land up here.
Okay, cool.
So what are we on, 9? Looking for-
Yeah, I don't want to rush you.
No, that's fine, that's okay. Lisa, do you know who authored the stream crossing initiative?
I don't know the author.
I mean, was it done by Fish and Game?
Well,
or-
I think you can find it on DES.
Yeah, probably, okay.
And then on number 11, with the invasive species, if yes, please describe your plan to remove and dispose of them to prevent further spread. I feel like we should have a city disposal plan to follow.
Like, and the resources are helpful
Yeah,
tools.
I mean, they can say, yeah, we have tons of invasives, but what are we supposed to do with them?
Isn't there's well, I don't know that it was adopted, but Department of Ag Markets and Foods, plant industry did do a invasive species strategic plan, and that's where they make that recommendation that you can't, it's illegal to transport them and all that, so it appears in that document. But I don't know if we want to take that document and turn it into a Laconia-specific thing, because the strategic plan may say that suggests stuff that by our ordinances isn't legal, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know, I just feel like, and I've told Dean, I think we should talk to, DPW or Parks and Rec or whatever, and really come up with, say, why can't we burn at the burn dump?
Yep.
Why can't people bag it in paper bags and it get picked up by the city and burned at the dump?
Well, yeah.
That way they're not transporting it. I mean, this is different because this is a contractor, but,
Yeah, I mean, have it as part of the leaf, how would you, and you'd have to have different bags, I guess, to identify.
I'm just worried that, if a contractor's left to take care of it himself, he could.
They most likely would just bulldoze it under.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, or dump it somewhere else, or,
Yeah, now most of them just take a backhoe. No, seriously, I mean, dispose of it on site, and then, 5
Right.
years from now, you've got to.
right. And that, we don't have to add that now or anything, but I'm saying that should be maybe a discussion.
We've identified a problem and you want to identify a solution.
Right.
Yep.
So,
Because it was silly when we were cleaning up all that stuff down at the park.
Don't confess to a crime.
It wasn't a crime. I mean, well, we asked Park and Rec what to do with
Yeah,
it.
I know.
And they
It's-
had us, put it in the black garbage bags and just put it out behind.
right.
on
their
Wilson- on
building
Wilson
to
Court
heat all
cook.
summer.
Yeah, to cook. I mean, we were treating it right. The one
Right.
issue, we should not have been taking it from one site to another is the problem. But they were bagged. I mean, it's,
Right.
so it's not, but anyway.
But maybe that's another discussion.
Well, I mean, we can put it on our to-do list.
Yeah,
Right.
let's talk to Amy and see what,
Right.
Well, I think it wouldn't be Amy, it would be Wes, because he deals with the solid waste.
Yeah. I mean, they used to burn it.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest with you, I don't see why the brush dump can't. The problem is when people taking it there. It's not really, I don't think, so much at the burn pit, it's that you don't want people driving the stuff.
Right.
And you find out that whole route on 1-3 is now covered in invasive species because leaves and stuff have been flowing in there.
Right.
So,
all right, I'll talk to Amy and see who, she'll probably defer to Les. Okay, so on 10, list any rare or endangered flora and fauna. And then on 12, I think we should make it a directive so that it says, instead of will you leave tree stumps in place, just leave tree stumps in place. Take out the will you.
I
instead of-
think, well, I asked before that what their plan was.
you can,
They may,
go ahead, Deb, sorry.
no, I mean, maybe we should say tree roots,
Yeah,
because they might wanna grind it down.
Right,
Well, they can
exactly.
grind it down, but, you can-
Right.
okay, so tree roots. Leave tree
Roots,
stumps
Slimps,
slash
roots. I-
slip
I
roots.
think you need to be clear. Yeah, I don't think you can say stumps and then roots, because
Right, just roots.
If they want to
Okay.
leave the stumps, they can, but,
But just tell them to leave the roots in place.
yeah.
Not will you.
What would you say, we request it, or
No.
we?
No, it's a directive. Leave tree roots in place.
Okay.
So.
When
we're-
possible?
We're going to leave this, we're gonna prepare this, then it has to go to the planning board.
Right.
So first, we have to figure out where we're going to attach this on the regs, and then it goes to the planning board to approve our changes to the regs and including this. So it's like,
So is this not gonna stay its own checklist?
Rob's suggestion was that we
So-
attach it to the regs, so it's now part of the regulations. You have to fill this out.
And if the planning,
Well, I thought they did have to fill them.
No, it's just out there floating. Nobody
Oh.
uses it now.
It's
Okay,
kind of just like these are the guidelines or suggestions that Concom wants you to come and have filled out, but there's nothing we can do to enforce it.
right.
So Rob was like, you can make them fill out the checklist if we adopt it into the regulations.
Okay.
So that's why they're trying to do
and
that.
it may be, once planning board looks at that, they may decide they want to beef something up with stronger language.
Right.
And so,
Right.
we're being kind of wishy-washy on some of them because we know we have no teeth, but they might adopt something and put teeth to it.
Right.
Mm.
So no stumps, just roots.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yeah, we're just gonna say leave tree roots in place.
got it. Is it, would you be receptive to changing landowners to development? Can,
What number?
for 13, development cannot alter the natural flow of water in any way that causes harm to other properties.
Well, why do you want to change it?
Oh, well, I'm thinking about it being the development companies that come in, so just, it's kind of wordsmithing, but if the development or construction company are the ones doing it and the landowner's like, oh, you know, I didn't do it, that happened during construction, maybe saying, or picking any language just to kind of encompass that it could be the owner, it could be the developer, it could be anyone who's altering the terrain. Is just what I'm thinking.
I think that's a good point, that, so we could make it,
Developers slash landowners
right,
Yeah,
cannot.
sure. Developers and
What are
landowners.
you laughing?
Are you a Gemini? No, I'm kidding.
I don't know what I am anymore.
I'm just teasing, I'm teasing.
so 14 was one of the ones from the previous that we just took verbatim?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think for, number 15,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe 14, I don't know. Should we, I don't know if we should try to identify, here I'm kind of contradicting myself, but should we identify what software or what program they use so that, or, I'm just trying to, so it's apples to apples kind of thing? I mean, I'm thinking about,
Are there different ones?
well, I mean, I don't know, that's what I'm asking. I know for a while the Winnipesaukee Gateway had one for landowners to kind of play around with if you design your property, what kind of footprint are you having,
Mm-hmm.
and then it just made me wonder, are some better than others, and, or does DES have, because DES wasn't the Region 5 model or something that they did for a long time? I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there.
Yeah, no,
Does
do you know that answer, Gray? Does everybody just use the DES table?
I'm not
figure
sure.
out
I
green
think
space?
when we talk about green space, when we're talking about more like zoning of projects downstairs, I want to say it might be on the website somewhere because we have our own table that like Scott references. I'm not sure if it's just a copy of the states though.
Well,
or if it's on our site.
maybe for 14 and 15, we can just say, to identify the planning model used or something. That way they can. Please identify the calculation model used.
Okay.
And then for 15, I think what Gray said is what we can reference the city plan that's already available using that table. As, use that as the reference document.
I didn't realize there was a difference between the city and the state's way of calculating. I still don't know that. You don't know that, yeah. It could be one, I would think it would be one and the same, but
Well, the cities
could
has
be
to be
wrong.
more stringent than the states.
it can be, it doesn't have to be, is what I'm saying, yeah, I know, but, so, what is the city using now? That's a good question.
Well, it's the table that Gray referenced here because.
Scott references a table and we're calculating green space with like zoning questions, so I'll just ask him if
Yeah.
it's the same as the states. Lisa, what did you say? You said please identify the what model used?
The calculation model.
Calculation?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We up to 16?
Hmm?
We up to 16?
Sure, we're,
Okay, so
whatever
projects
you
with
feel.
docks, silt curtains should be used in the water surrounding the project during construction?
Isn't that kinda a given?
To
Well,
me, it is.
Put it in, won't hurt. Is there a timeline, like with silt socks, that you would want to go, so they wrap up a project on a Friday, but they've done a lot of disturbing during that day? Do we want them to leave the silt curtain in for the weekend? Because, you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah,
'Cause
yeah,
those-
I know what you're trying to say.
the water's disturbed, so for up to, I shouldn't be just throwing this out there, but I'm gonna say, up to 4 days after the construction or something. Maybe there's a better timeline, but,
Maybe up to 1 week.
we're spitballing, but
Let's go
sure.
for a month.
No, I don't think it needs to be that long, but
No, I
I'm
don't.
just saying, well, cause simultaneously, they have to be stabilizing the site on shore too, so I'm just, anyway.
During construction and for the following week?
for 1 week post-construction.
I mean, they may push back on that,
Yeah.
we probably should come up with a,
3 days.
well, no, we could still put a week, but what I'm saying is we probably should come up with either somebody backing us up on that, you know, or we'd have to alter it, like, you know.
No, I mean, you're absolutely right, though, because you don't want them yanking them out, you know, right after they finish drilling.
Stirring everything up.
Right. Yeah, it's worth a shot.
I think you can kind of make it whatever you want it to be, as long and then it just has to get approved by planning board.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they may have their own
The
ideas.
regs, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, turn around, should be covered.
Deb, did you wanna, I know you typed this up, but when we talked about covering the dirt piles, you had some firm opinions about what kind of material should be used to cover the dirt piles, and I don't see that it's,
No, I think did you say
Yeah,
that?
I said,
Yeah,
I
think
said,
Dean
if
said
you
that.
use plastic, that typically means it's contaminated.
oh,
I mean, but that's, you know, that's what I was doing. When we dug out contaminated soil, you had to put plastic over it.
yeah, I
But
don't,
here, I don't know, because I
most
didn't
people
do
aren't
work
that
here.
savvy to that, I don't think.
Okay, then, I then covered with plastic sheeting or whatever.
Water, how about, instead of plastic, could we say
Yeah, go ahead.
impermeable to water, or
Impermeable to,
impermeable to water, cause they could have oiled canvas or whatever they wanna do.
I mean,
but-
I'd rather not have plastic.
That's what I'm thinking, they
Okay.
could have oiled
I'd-
canvas or,
I would, maybe we don't say what to cover it with.
yeah.
well,
You
okay,
could cover it with a truck if they want.
With
Oh.
what?
A truck, a big, I don't know.
No, seriously, they could put it inside a dump truck and pull that, whatever it's called,
Right? Cover over it?
that would be okay.
How do you feel about changing used to corral it to used to contain it?
I agree, Gray.
Okay.
And also, I think we need to, dirt piles should be covered to secure runoff. Securing runoff includes the use of silt socks to contain, silt socks around the base of the pile to contain, or no?
Dirt piles should be impermeably covered to secure runoff, and silt socks used to contain it.
Around the base of the pile.
You don't think you'll get pushback on that?
We'll see.
Yeah.
The one thing I could think of, Deb, that some developer may push back on is, well, I've just created a swimming pool, but I'm not gonna, I don't wanna second guess that, cause I don't know, I don't work construction. That's what I was thinking, maybe the one.
Yeah, I mean,
But silt socks should allow the water to,
Drain, but be filtered.
well, then, that's the question. We're telling them to secure the runoff. And if we use silt socks, we're not securing it, we're filtering it. So we need to be more specific.
it also depends on the dirt. I don't know.
Let's leave it the way it is. We'll get this back next meeting for another kick around. And Mike will be here, so we'll have fresh eyes.
Okay.
Hopefully he'll be here.
Does anybody see any of these ideas that can be condensed more or joined together?
They all look good to me. I was gonna ask if just by, I don't know if you wanna do it by next meeting, if that's when you wanna kick it around again. But the helpful tools, originally I only had the paper copy of the checklist. I gotta find the PDF version, cause the helpful tool links are in there, but I haven't tested them all to make sure that they're up to date.
I tested some of them today,
Okay.
and they were pretty good. I
Okay.
didn't find one that didn't. There was,
So any other tools that you
There
guys
was-
wanna add next time?
number, I don't think it's number 17 anymore. Number 12 had said, subject to the Shoreland Water Quality Protection Act and Shoreland Protection Overlay District, and then it had said, see list online here. And I was like, oh, okay, well, that's not gonna fly. On a paper copy.
Right.
I mean, I'm just happy to get the silt socks in there.
I'm happy that we figured out why it was supposed to be 33 feet.
What do you mean?
I thought it was a very arbitrary number.
It is, but that's what they
Okay,
came up with.
all right, so we're going to, Gray will put this into a tabular format, and then we can take another look at it next meeting. Okay, thanks, Deb, for doing that.
Mhm.
It certainly made it easier with you retyping it, even though it wasn't my
Well,
signature.
mine was a mess. My copy. Bless you.
Okay. Oops. Okay, done with that.
The allergy season is here.
No, I outgrew my allergies, sorry. Okay, so now we're up to wetland conservation and water quality overlay district regulations, which are these guys. So, yeah, there we go. Excellent. Okay.
Do we want to take the time to go over this tonight, or do we want to take it home and read it and highlight or whatever, anything that we,
I think that's
Concerned
what we
about.
should do. I think that we should take it home,
okay.
read it, and then where do we want to put this checklist? As item K, since the last one is subsurface disposal systems.
Huh?
Put it as item K on the list,
I don't know what you mean.
so
It ends with J right
at the
now.
end.
We're gonna put our list on this?
Yeah, it's gonna be part of it.
Oh,
Because if we don't do it that way, then our list would have to go to the planning board, and then it would have to go to the city council.
well, what if some of our things were already included in here?
I don't think duplication's a problem.
As long as they don't contradict.
Right.
Okay,
But-
gotcha.
Okay, but we can make the checklist K.
All right, that'll be good. We'll highlight whatever differences.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so we're not gonna do anything else with the overlay district regulations tonight. Right?
Right.
Okay. Okay, so now we're gonna do Love Our Earth Day. And this is the, this write-up was done by Martha.
Cruz?
Cruz, I always wanna
Yeah.
say Walker, cause her husband is Walker.
Right, I know.
Yeah.
Okay. So, does anybody have any comments on this? Or-
So, Lisa, if you're not able to be there, we can,
Well-
we can take your stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it hasn't been finalized yet whether I can or can't, so.
Right. But we definitely have
Yeah,
room
so,
for your stuff, or if we had another table even, Susan said she might come and do it.
oh, that's very nice. So so we all had to send a description of what we were gonna be doing, and I told her I would probably do the tabletop version of The Incredible Journey with building your water-
Bracelets,
Yeah,
yeah.
your water drop journey, and then some handouts, so it's pretty straightforward. The only thing you have to watch with that one is that most kids don't wanna bother doing, they don't wanna bother rolling the cube for the journey, they just
Right.
wanna build a pink bracelet or a
Right,
orange bracelet, and you'd have to monitor that, but it's up to you.
right.
Otherwise, I can glower at them.
And I was planning to borrow your watershed.
You can borrow the watershed model. No, I mean, that's fine, I don't care.
You know me, I love that.
Yep.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see exactly what everybody's doing.
Well, she asked everybody to send them a write-up, so I imagine she has some descriptions. So she could give you some guidance. Like, I don't know what would the Lakewood Piscataway Association doing? They're
Yeah.
gonna do something water.
And what is it, Winnisquam Watershed Network Guide for the Rail Bike Tour?
Don't know.
I don't know about that.
Yeah,
I
don't-
have no idea where that came from.
right.
The rail bikes down at the train station.
Well, but it's in conjunction with Winnisquam Watershed Network, which it wouldn't really be together, I don't think, so.
How far, well, I don't know where the rail bike trail goes. Do they go down like Bond?
They do, but I would think Winnisquam would
So,
have their own thing, I don't know. We'll have to ask.
Winnisquam Watershed Network has a board meeting, I think it's the 4th or 5th of April, so I'll have the information about that before, when we come back for the next meeting here.
I feel like these are two different things.
I think so too, but
Yeah.
anyway.
And it would be nice to know what New Hampshire Lakes is planning to do. So we don't duplicate.
Okay, I think the question I have is what kind of write-ups do we have for the Conservation Commission that we can use there? Like we could print out a piece of paper that says, here's what we do, give them the RSA, this is what we're responsible for doing. And then, here's the address for the NRI, the Natural Resource Inventory, so they can, take that home and go and read it if they want. I don't think we should make copies of it. We could make a copy that they could look at. This is a
Do you
desktop
wanna make a
copy.
brochure?
We could make a brochure,
Yeah.
yeah.
Gray, were you able to find the tablecloth?
So that was one of my updates for staff report. We cleaned out my office. It is not in the office, so next we're gonna check the archive room. I'm hoping it's maybe just in one of our boxes or like with the Christmas.
I'm pretty sure we had one, right?
I
I can
vaguely
kind of picture
remember-
it in my mind.
vaguely remember.
I thought we did too.
I picture it as white. Do you?
Yeah, white with the green lettering, right? We chose green lettering for
I
obvious
think.
reasons.
I'll let you know.
Okay.
We'll check the archive room.
Sorry to get into your report already.
No, it's okay.
Okay, good. So we're making progress, that's good.
I mean, I think we could, besides a general information on what we do, maybe we have some paper or flyer there for people that are thinking about putting their land in an easement or,
Yeah, there, we have that, you know the,
Does she have Prescott Farm coming?
yes.
Okay.
You know we have a document that says if you want to put your property into a conservation easement, here's how you do it.
Okay. Is it in a specific place, like on the website, or are you saying that?
We have paper copies that are like
Okay.
this big.
Perfect. So then I can scan it and add
When,
it.
yeah, when you're on your treasure hunt.
On my crusade for the tablecloth.
See if you can find, they're like this big and it says, remember, you know what, right? Anyway,
Sure.
I might have one at home. I'll take a look
Okay.
and see.
Yeah, I'll look.
If I have one, I have 25. No,
Yeah,
that's
I
not
might
true.
have one too.
Okay, so,
I'm
you know,
sure
those
it's
are,
on the website.
oh, you know what we can have? Let's have a sign-up list for,
Lake Host?
no, a sign-up list
Oh, we could do that.
that says your name, what's your email address, do you want to be a lake host? Do you want to do water sampling? Do you want to join the Conservation Commission?
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
And then we can, you know, I just did the community outreach segment of the webinar that Fish and Game and Cooperative Extension put together. And they said, have a sign-in so that people can put their name, give them a check as to what they, you know, this is what we do. Okay. And then what we can do is we could put, you know, when it gets closer to the 10th, ask Nancy Brown to put in an announcement that, so, all the, what, Laconians, whatever we are, are aware. Okay. Okay, so I guess we're up to staff report.
All right. So, update about the tablecloth. And then, in addition to that, I received a call from, he didn't give me his name, but he is from the Lakes Region Planning Commission. And I asked him to send me an email about our phone call and forwarded that to Dean as well. He said he knew who you were, so, and he's in Meredith, so I'm sure
Yeah,
I would know him.
I know who he is.
Yeah, so they are trying to gauge interest. It's usually for like staff and having to do with marinas, but they want to also bring the conservation commissions into it this year. So they're gauging interest for doing some kind of series or information or training that would be for free about how we can start recycling the plastic wrapping for boat storage. They're partnering.
I thought
with,
they did.
They're partnering with.
See, no. Sorry, I didn't mean to. But no, because I had asked one of the mariners or dealers
Oh yeah.
at one point what they did with it because I was concerned, and he said we recycle it.
Oh,
I
well,
think,
that's great.
I think
But
what
maybe
Grace,
that was just that one person.
Yeah, maybe. So they were saying that they're partnering with a group that's down on Cape Cod who has their own recycling program for boat wrapping. So I think they're just trying to spread and train different municipalities on how we can adopt it here. So that's great if we already have some marinas that are doing it.
I mean, they may
I
have just
think-
been.
I think Irwin Marine is
clicking.
involved in this. I think
Oh, yeah?
Irwin, I think
Okay.
he's, I can't remember his name, I can't remember if it's Matt or, anyway, doesn't make a difference. I think that's, oh, the other thing we could put on this checklist of things you'll be into is have a brochure that says on when Lakes Region Planning Commission has its hazardous waste day, if we can find out when that date is, and say, you know, if you have any hazardous waste, and these are what, you know, this is what fits into the categories of hazardous waste. Fluorescent light bulbs, latex paint, you take the top off and let it dry, air dry.
DPW is going to be there,
Right.
so maybe they're going to
I know, but if we,
have some info on that too.
right,
That would be good.
batteries, that kind of stuff, anyway. Okay,
That's a good idea.
good. All right, so we interrupted you.
Yeah, so
No, that's
keep
all I
us
had.
updated on that.
Yeah, so he just called. They said they don't have a date yet or anything. They just were trying to get a head count of who would be interested in it. I said we have about 4 members. Hopefully by that time 5 that would be very interested. Most
I
likely.
think his name is Matt Rose.
Maybe he talked to Savannah first, so he didn't
Oh, okay.
tell me his name when he got on the
Okay.
phone.
He's from
Did-
Meredith?
No, he's from LRPC.
Oh.
Lakes Region Planning Commission.
Yeah, I think he was just located in Meredith.
Gotcha.
Yeah, he is. He, I think he is Dave, what's,
Dave Jeffers.
Dave Jeffers' assistant.
Yeah.
I think he's being brought up through the ranks to be, anyway. Okay, good. Great.
Yeah, because as a Lake Coast, I see a lot of boaters.
Yeah.
So it would certainly be great to have information to give to them and so.
Okay. You said you had some other stuff?
Did I? This, did you want to say anything about this?
Well, okay, so Aquarion Water Company sent this letter saying that they, Aquarium Water Company and the Abenaki Water Subsidiary are excited to once again honor individuals, businesses, and organizations dedicated to protecting our natural resources. Winners in the business, adult, and nonprofit organization categories can choose an environmental nonprofit to receive a $5,000 grant. Students get $1,000. So do we want to recommend anybody here? And maybe what I'll do is I'll give this letter to Gray, and if you can,
I mean, I would think that they were, and it says natural resource.
Right.
But they are a water company, so I feel like they're looking for people that have done water projects and to help, you know, the environment kind of thing.
I mean, I can think of 3 or 4 or 5 that,
Right, I mean, the Winnipesaukee Alliance, you know, Winnisquam
Yep.
Watershed,
Yep.
they've all done projects like that. I don't, you know, I don't know how many people get nominated or how many companies get nominated.
You're
Yeah.
talking about just Laconia, like the nonprofits in just Laconia? I'm just saying, since it was sent to you, that might reduce the number of,
It was sent to our
It-
Conservation Commission.
yeah, it was sent to the Conservation Commission, but it doesn't say nonprofits. It doesn't have to be a nonprofit.
oh, I'm sorry, I heard nonprofits and I was thinking,
Yes, I think that's one of the categories. No?
the criteria, you mean?
Well, it can be a business, an
Oh.
individual, or a nonprofit,
Oh, okay,
and they have winners in each category.
I see.
Mm-hmm,
Okay.
okay. So,
So something to think about. I think it has to be submitted by
May 25th.
May 25th.
Okay.
Here's a flyer. Can you look at that?
Actually, it's okay, I can't really, my eyes aren't good tonight, I can't see much.
So,
Take it back.
Do we have to drive you home?
No, for reading, it's hard.
Gotcha.
okay,
You
so
can look at it.
what else did you have?
What else did I have?
So,
I don't know.
I'll just mention, so with the county budget changes, I know that a lot of those, the outside agency organizations are looking at how they're going to, realign their work priorities. It's not just the conservation district, I think there are others that are, so I'm just throwing that out there to kind of, you might be seeing stuff either on Facebook, or you might get an email, or they might put something in the paper. And I don't want to reiterate anything I may have heard as, you know, because then it's just hearsay and things may change, so.
Okay. Okay, so I got an email from Bree today saying, hey, would you guys be interested in doing water sampling, deep water sampling, following ice out and in Paugus Bay? And she's looking for volunteers, and it's going to be more onerous than just the way it was before. We're gonna have to collect samples at different 1 foot intervals as you go down. And anyway, so I told her I would volunteer, and she wanted to know if somebody else, she's gonna ask Irwin to let us use their boat, one of their boats, because it's one of those things where she said, you're not going out for 10 minutes and do this. This is gonna be a longer. So she's looking for volunteers, and then she's gonna let us know when the sampling will be done. And then she asked she said, hey, how would you feel about another sampling location for Langley Cove? So I sent her a question of, is she talking about in the tributary? Is she talking about shallow or deep water? So I hadn't gotten the email by the time I left. But she's looking for volunteers to do that.
Is that, don't we sample by the bridge?
Yeah, we sampled by the bridge, but so I don't know whether she wants a near shore. When Pat Tarpey and I were doing it way back when, before there was even water on the planet, we were doing a near water sampling, near water sampling.
Before there was land on the planet, say it that way.
That's right, there was no land. It was all underwater. It was under the glacier. We were sampling near shore in the cove. And I don't know what that sampling locations are.
Okay.
I don't know what that sampling location is. Anyway, so then this Blueberry Lane development. Do you have the document that shows where it is? You know, the one that they wanna put 21 housing units?
Condos.
I'm assuming that's the proposed project for where the Bean Center is now.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah. I haven't seen any conceptuals or plans for that yet. But it was mentioned last week, yeah.
So they're gonna raise the Beacon Center?
yeah.
Okay.
They said it's out of date.
Well, they made it difficult to use it. I mean, it was part of the problem, I think.
So my question would be if the parcel is supposed to be 2.5 acres, and they came and got a variance for density, and they were able to put, what was it, six or seven per, instead of, they were able to change the density per acre. But when they measure that acreage, are they measuring, because it's surrounded by wetlands?
Yeah.
So are they measuring the wetland, because the 2.5 acres have to go into the wetlands. I mean, that is not a big a site. So when they do their calculations, do they take the whole site, including the wetlands? Because that seems like it shouldn't be. Because your housing
Yeah.
authority did
Yeah.
something
We
behind
were,
it.
we're just up,
Right,
upstream, downstream, whatever.
right, but it's all
And then
wetlands.
we
behind
abut some wetlands.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, so the wetlands that you abut come down and they flow into Pearly Pond.
Yeah.
And so there, I think, not being a certified wetland scientist, I think that there could be a vernal pool adjacent to Pearly Pond, and I don't know what the status of Pearly Pond is. Pearly Pond doesn't have any fish that I know of, it has turtles.
Yeah.
But I don't know, so
So you don't know how they do the calculations?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
That's something I would be able to ask Scott. but
Yeah.
for that specific site, no, I don't know.
Yeah, if we could get, have they submitted a plan yet?
Not that I've seen, no,
I think
not
they
yet.
they came to get the variance, and that was.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, but they must have had some kind of a drawing or something.
I've just seen the lot and was told what their variance was for, what their plan was to do. I haven't seen a site plan yet. Maybe that came in this week, I'm not sure. I'd have to
And-
check.
Okay, and the land that the Bean Center is on has areas, the parking lot at least, where it's been fill. Because it's about
A lot of it's failed.
about
yeah.
4 feet, 6 feet of fill, because you have to go down, 6 feet to get to Pearly Pond.
More than that, I feel like.
Well, anyway, so,
I mean, it's a good use for the property, I'm skeptical of 21 units.
right.
But that's,
Well, how many units are on just above where Langley Brook, Christmas Island? All those townhouses that are skinny and tall? How many units are there?
Oh, yeah, there are a lot.
question.
I mean, I'm saying they could do something like that on that footage without getting
Right.
into the wetlands. I mean, without seeing the plan.
Right.
Is there gonna be subsidized housing, do you know?
I don't think so.
Well, speaking of housing, can I sort of talk a little bit about something? So I don't know if we can do this. Representative Sherry Minor, who lives on Academy Street, is on the housing committee for the state. And I had emailed her just saying, hey, I'm on the Laconia Conservation Commission. I'd love to just chat with you about what, like, as a Laconia resident being on a housing commission in the state, what are you guys talking about? And just have it be like a one-on-one chat. I didn't hear back, I heard back from her to, yes, send me an email, and then I didn't hear back from her email yet. I mean, it may be just that, so. And I didn't want to be stepping on the planning department's toes if they're like, oh, no, you can't have those conversations unless you go through us, or whatever. I'm just throwing it out there. We've got somebody who lives in Laconia, it's on the housing commission committee at the state, and maybe she'd want to come and talk to us, in a public meeting or something, just, maybe we submit questions ahead of time, or just, I don't know if that would do anything, or just give us a different perspective, or, or maybe have Rob here have that discussion, because I know after the natural resources meeting, some people had put their opinions out in the public, and they don't always align with what Laconia has said to us, so I don't know, or maybe we just don't kick that beehive and just let it go, but I just thought it might be an opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, it's, what they're trying to get through the state is, to expedite any kind of, building and
Well,
stuff.
and that was under Sununu. I mean, a lot of that happened with Sununu. I'm not sure if Governor Ayotte is carrying that through, or if they were talking different things. Anyway, I'm just,
Yeah.
and maybe it could be a little bit of a back and forth saying, well, we're here talking about, it's been identified in the region that land preservation or protection is very important, and we're here talking about ways developers can do things that doesn't prevent them from developing, but conserves resources. And I'm just saying that right now it seems like there's silos. Like, I don't talk to Rob about housing. Gray is the one that comes to our meetings, and kind of we commandeer his time to take our minutes and stuff, but we're not having necessarily planning department discussions about housing.
Right.
I know, Dean, you're having them, and relaying the information to us. Well, no, when you were saying you've met with Rob and he said this, or if this comes from the city council or Kirk or the city administrator. I'm just saying, it just seems like right now we're talking silos, and now we have all this this is in the paper, this is in the paper, this is in the paper. We didn't see those plans. What's going on? What are people's ideas?
Right.
Again, I'm talking, babbling, just throwing it out there.
No, I don't think you are. I think,
No,
I think, when I was on the executive board for LRPC, they did a survey of all the municipalities that are part of LRPC, and there are 30 of them.
Yeah.
And they asked them what their approach was to the housing needs of the state.
Yeah.
And they, so and they went around in the meeting and they said, Guilford, what's yours? Meredith, what's yours? And they got to Laconia. I said, I'm an environmental guy, I have no idea.
Yeah.
And so that's when
It-
I really got to the point where I said to Rob, I said, I'm not the right guy to be on this commission. You need to have somebody else. And so somebody else is on that commission
Isn't it
now.
Tyler?
I don't know who it is.
Mr., is it
I don't know if it's
Carmichael?
Yeah, it might
Tyler,
be.
Tyler Carmichael, I think.
Which board is it? Which commission?
LRPC,
Lakes
Lakes
Region
Region Planning Commission.
It's
Yeah.
Tyler.
Yeah.
It's Tyler
Yeah,
and somebody else.
and I think Nate from DPW is on it.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah.
So, they're better able to comment on housing.
Yeah, but there again, we never see Tyler anymore because we've been, Gray is assigned to us and doing a good job, but I'm just saying, it just feels like right now, we've got a lot of questions, we're getting frustrated about hearing about all these developments that we don't really have any say in, and it would be nice, how can I put this? It would be nice to know what the expectation is, so that we are not having these either negative reactions or frustrations, or making recommendations that just, the directive is this, it's gonna stay this, work within that. Don't be butting your head against the wall for stuff that, I'm just,
Right. No, I watched part of the zoning meeting the other night, and there was a developer, well, a landowner, someone representing the landowner, had brought some property in the Weirs, like on, what was it, Morris Street, down by Methodist Circle, where it's super, super tight in there. And he had come he had like 6 different variances that he wanted for this lot,
Yeah.
because they wanted to tear down the old house that was there, and put in 2 condos, attached condos.
Yeah.
And they were gonna be 3 or 4 stories tall because they wanted to put the garages underneath because there's no parking there. Parking is atrocious. And there were at least 15 residents.
you'll block my
They-
view.
No,
Oh.
well, they came and they said, you're reading this and you cannot take away, you're not supposed to take away from the neighborhood environment.
Yeah.
And it would totally change everything. I don't know, did you hear about that?
Yeah, there's discussion about it.
So, anyway, everybody spoke against it.
Yeah.
And the board was like, they denied the first one, and then he had like 5 others that he was gonna present. And they were like, well, we can't do this all at once, and he was like, I think I have to take them back and work on them again anyway. So, but then the board they were somewhat frustrated because they said, and because Rob was there, and he said, we need a master plan, we need some kind of direction to know, what places are good to build, what places are not good to build, what do we want our city to look like? How do we want to keep it, how do we want to keep Weirs in the spirit that it is? So it was, I think there's a frustration among a lot of the boards because we are kind of like willy-nilly, like, we've got all of these construction people coming in and saying, yeah, we want to do this and we want to, and the gentrification is outrageous. I mean, in this city, it's, and it's like, where do you draw the line? Where do you say stop? But
So, I didn't mean to open up I don't know how to proceed. I don't know
No.
how to proceed with this.
Right.
I think it's consistent with, the webinar. The webinar is now finished and they're going to send out an application for people who participated to ask them to help us do something. And we submit a project. And we had talked about redoing the NRI, and I thought that they would be helping us redo the NRI. And, you know, we've talked to FB Environmental, and Sarah Large didn't want to come to this meeting, and so,
I'm sorry, I thought I turned this off.
so, FB Environmental is interested in redoing it. So, anyway, so when I get the application requirements, I'll send them to Gray, and then he can send them to everybody. We can figure out if we want to ask Fish and Game and the other organizations to help us do the NRI, figure out areas of the city that should not be developed. You know, and essentially, they'd be doing the same thing that they did for, and I lost the word.
Well, so, I mean, I think we should broaden our, I think we also should be asking Justin Slattery from Belknap Economic Development Council to be part of that. I mean, if we're beating our head against the wall if we just look at the natural resources and not include the desires for business development and, you know what I mean? I'm just saying, he may have pertinent information about the directions Laconia could be taking business-wise that, you know, we're looking at a late parcel of land going, great to, you know, for our natural resource stuff, and he goes, oh, but we have big opportunities here business-wise. You know, I'm just saying we
Right,
should bring
yeah,
them in.
and, you know, that's exactly what, you know, we need to assemble all that information so that we can redo the NRI and have it be quote-unquote consistent with other
So
things going on.
budget-wise, if you're talking money. Some of these people, we pay into like a membership like LRPC, we pay an annual service fee, if you will. But I think as we start talking more and more, we should be looking at what funding do we need to get this done?
Well, we can use our conservation funds to pay for it.
I'm just, yeah, and how much do we have? And I'm just saying, I think,
$250,000.
okay, I don't know why I thought it was much less. I'm sorry. I guess maybe when we were talking about doing something with it, it would have only given us this much left. Maybe that was it. Okay, sorry.
It's okay.
No,
Oh, you're fine.
I did have one more thing. I don't know why, I totally like blitzed it, but, going through these regulations or whatever and realizing, looking at a few more of these documents, and it keeps saying Laconia has no prime wetlands, we have no prime you know, and I'm like, yes, we do.
Yeah.
They're just not
Identified.
So, I had gone through, and this was a map for the state that showed wetlands, and then I'm thinking, they've left out a lot of things, but anyway, I know at your district meeting that, Everett McLaughlin had brought up about the big wetlands by Pickerel Pond. And, you know, one of the identifying things for prime wetlands is the size, which that is huge. And then it also is usually in conjunction with some water body, which is Pickerel Pond. So, you know,
Getting
it
those
might
identified.
behoove us to have a certified wetlands scientist go through that wetlands
Give them a prime designation.
and give them a designation, right?
I think that the thing that